Welcome to the Big Play Cleveland show presented by FanDuel. I'm Nick Padone, Chris McNeil, no Gabriella Cruz. That's okay. She's on assignment down in the sunny Orlando, Florida for the American Bowl on NFL Network later this week. But Chris, how was the weekend? Crazy weekend of NFL football, and our Browns coaching search rolls on.
Yeah, a little bit of snow, pretty cold out there. A good weekend to hunker down and watch these playoffs. Crazy playoffs so far. 2 games this weekend going to overtime, just wild finishes, capped off yesterday. The Bears, unfortunately, go down. They were kind of my sexy pick for the Super Bowl. Sorry, Mom, they didn't have it in the end there. Caleb Williams, a nice throw there to put it in the overtime. I mean, just crazy. Chucks it up there, gets the score. They lose it in overtime. Very disappointing for at least half of my family. But a lot of great games out there. I can't wait, Nick, until the Cleveland Browns are participating in the playoffs, because these have been a lot of fun. And just imagine what it would be like hosting a game, dare I say, hosting a game here at the lakefront. You see the conditions outside right now. It's snowy. It's windy. It would be so much fun to be hosting right now in Cleveland.
It's like it always reminds me watching these games of that Michael Scott quote in The Office where he's like, I love inside jokes. I would love to be a part of one someday. Like, that's how I feel watching these NFL playoffs. Like, I love the NFL. I love the NFL playoffs, and I would love to consistently be a part of it one day. You see some of these teams back there up at the top. The Patriots weren't down for too long. The Seahawks weren't down for too long. The LA Rams, a lot of familiar teams. They're at the top of the AFC. We've got a packed show for you guys. We're going to do our Cleveland headlines. We're going to get into our featured interview presented by Garage Beer. John Fanta joins the show to talk a little college hoops, but also Browns coaching search. And then we are going to talk to the commissioner, CEO of the great Cleveland Sports Commission, David Gilbert, going to join the program before we make our big play bets powered by our friends over there at FanDuel. Don't go anywhere. We've got your Cleveland headlines straight ahead. Cleveland headlines are brought to you by Smart Choice Windows. Right now at Smart Choice Windows, you can get 50% off all windows during our limited time promotion. 50% off, plus take advantage of their special financing with no money down and no interest until 2027. If you're looking to upgrade your whole exterior, Smart Choice is the place for you. They're offering $1,500 off siding for your entire home and $500 off entry door installation to boost that curb appeal. And remember that every single project starts with a free, no pressure estimate. So call them now, 844-GET-SMART. Visit smartchoicewindows.com and make sure to ask about that big play bonus to get an additional 10% off all promotions. Do it now before the snow melts. 844-GET-SMART or visit smartchoicewindows.com. Well, Chris, the Cleveland Browns head coaching search continues as the second round of interviews will get kicked off this week. Another name gets added to the island as the Buffalo Bills fired Sean McDermott as their head coach. Now that we've heard a little bit more about each candidate, is there a guy that stands out to you as the Browns search for Kevin Stefanski's replacement?
Well, we talked about it last week. I would have loved to have had Harbaugh. That ship has sailed. Obviously, he's finally got that deal done in New York, so that's not happening, and that's not on the radar anymore for the Cleveland Browns. My question is going to be, I know we're going to change our head coach here, but we're not making a whole lot of changes to the organization. How are we going to set up whoever it is for future success? We obviously don't have the quarterback. We don't have an answer at quarterback. We still need a lot of talent back into this room and on this team for anybody to be successful. So you start bringing in a young coach. I know a lot of people have talked about Grant Udinski out of Jacksonville. I think he would be fabulous. He's an up-and-comer, 30 years old. But how's he going to respond to a team like this where you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a whole lot of answers? That's a lot to be putting on his shoulders. So you start thinking about, hey, maybe you go with the conservative approach. Last year, obviously, the defense was good, just like it was the year before because of Jim Schwartz. Do you end up just promoting him, keeping him in-house, and kind of keeping the same, makeup of this team from a coaching standpoint? I don't know if the team really wants to do that, though. I think they want to make that hot next move, and I think they're going to look towards a younger guy, Nick. I'm not so sure that they're going to stick with the conservative, the safe choice, which would be Jim Schwartz.
So Jim Schwartz is going to have his second interview on Monday. He'll be the first of all of the candidates to go through the second interview process. I'm with you, though. I think as we talk more about this and as you look at the candidates remaining, I think Andrew Berry is out to find his own Kevin Stefanski, if you will, his own Sean Payton. He's trying to get a young offensive mind in here is really how I would lean in this process. And I think that stands really nice for Grant Udinski. And I know that could scare some people because that's a guy that doesn't have any head coaching experience. He doesn't even have play calling experience. At 30 years old, though, he already has 6 years of experience in the National Football League. He's responsible for Sam Darnold's resurgence with the Minnesota Vikings. Then this year, Trevor Lawrence throws a career-high touchdown pass with the Jacksonville Jaguars under Udinski's watch. I wonder if Jim Schwartz would be willing to come back as a defensive coordinator for a 30-year-old head coach, though.
And that's the word right now. Jim Schwartz may or may not have told the Browns that, hey, you promote me or you lose me. And that'll be an interesting wrinkle to all of this. I know the best laid plans often go awry, and for the Cleveland Browns, certainly that's the case. But I think that assumption that you could just plug and play with a head coach here and keep Jim Schwartz and keep that defense, I don't know that that's going to happen.
All right, any other names on this list stand out to you, Chris? As on Tuesday, the Browns will meet with Todd Monken, who was most recently the Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator. You know, a lot of fans will remember that he was here in 2019, Freddie Kitchens' disaster class season. Todd Monken was that OC. He did get 1,000 yards receiving that year out of both Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt had good seasons as well. Mike McDaniel, ex-Miami Dolphins head coach. Nathan Scheelhaus, the Los Angeles Rams passing game coordinator. The Browns are going to have to wait on that one because the Rams just advanced to the NFC title game. And Jesse Minter, the Los Angeles Chargers defensive coordinator. Any of those names do anything for you?
Well, it seems like there's a lot behind Mike McDaniel right now. Obviously, he was here in Cleveland once, went down there to Miami, had some good success with Tua, was able to kind of get him into a good spot as a quarterback there for a little bit. I think Tua is very limited, but what he could get out of him, I think you could see that perhaps being here in Cleveland, him being able to bring that over here with maybe a Shadur Sanders or whoever the quarterback might be. He's a young mind. He's obviously got a lot of crazy ideas, whether it be pants length or with his offense. And I think he's a name that's pretty interesting right now. But the thing that strikes me, Nick, is we certainly made that firing without an immediate answer in mind, right? I mean, we have cast a wide net, and that's exactly what the Browns said they were going to do, take 120 days and really look at all these candidates. We've got a lot of candidates here, and we don't know that they're not going to be adding to this list here in the next week or so.
And not to mention, like, you had 12 known candidates that had a first-round interview. They're bringing back 50%. Six candidates getting a second-round interview is a ton, and they're not even going to be able to hire a head coach this week unless a Rooney Rule candidate kind of falls out of the sky. Like, you have to have 2 in-person interviews that are women or minority. Mike McDaniel would be one on Wednesday, but the fact that they're not going to be able to meet with Nathan Scheelhaus until at earliest next week, depending on what happens with the Rams in the NFC Championship game, we really could be waiting a good minute. I want to quickly pivot, Chris. Do you have a name of who you most not want the Steelers to hire as their next head coach? And I guess we can bake the Ravens into that as well.
Oh, man. I've been so concerned with the Cleveland Browns and what we're going to do in the coaching search. I really haven't thought that much about those two teams. Mike Tomlin, I don't think Tomlin's going to be moving over to the Ravens, although that would be interesting. Outside of that, I'm not as concerned with who they're going to hire as much as who the Browns are going to hire. I think we really need to worry about our own place, and keep our eyes on our own work right now, because the Browns have a long way to go. And that's not only head coach, that's also this entire roster, that's the entire coaching staff. It's how we proceed forward. And what those other teams do, I'm not as concerned. I will be, I'm sure, once I see the name pop up, though, from Adam Schefter.
And I do think that both Baltimore and Pittsburgh are going to meet with like the Chris Shulas of the world.
Yeah.
So it'll be fascinating to see what they do. I agree with you, Chris. I don't think that the turnaround, like, I don't think that the Browns are that far away. I'm maintaining that. I'm maintaining that. This defense is ready to go. And you look around the league, you look at these 4 teams remaining, they all have elite defenses. Well, the Browns have an elite defense. You just need enough offensively. And the Browns are a far cry away from enough. I'll reason with you on that. You still have no answer on quarterback. Now, maybe Shedeur Sanders has another opportunity to be a part of that answer next year. You also need skill position play. Like, dude, look at what Jackson Smith and Jigba is doing. Jerry Jeudy is the furthest cry away from that. You need to really booster this offense this offseason. I think Andrew Berry said when Kevin Stefanski was let go, they're going to put drastic resources into fixing that offensive side of the football, which should be music to Browns fans' ears everywhere, because you've got a defense that's mostly ready to go. You're returning a lot of these guys. You just have to fix this offense, and you could be there with some of these other teams, because these teams that are remaining all have good defenses. You have a good defense. You just have to get there offensively.
And the corrosion of the offensive line is finally complete this offseason, because it is totally collapsed. You have got to rebuild that offensive line. We've seen it the last couple of years. You haven't had the depth. You haven't had the resources poured into it. A lot of those guys who were real good for many years have aged, and now you've got to rebuild that entire offensive line. Otherwise, Nick, you got me and you basically playing offensive line for the Cleveland Browns. You can't do that as an offense. You don't have any wide receivers. You don't have an offensive line. You don't have a whole lot on that side of the ball. So I disagree with you a little bit. I think we're a little bit farther away than what you're giving them credit for.
Give me one more good draft and ace this head coaching search, and we could go from worst to first. Mark me down as a believer. This segment was also brought to you by our friends over at Smart Choice Baths. It's the perfect time to remodel that bathroom. And right now, Smart Choice Baths is giving you $1,250 off your bathroom projects, plus get a free luxury upgrade to add style and comfort this winter season. Just for our Big Play listeners, you're going to save an additional 10% off of your project. So give them a call at 844-GET-SMART or smartchoicebaths.com. Tell them the Big Play Sports Network sent you. You're going to get an additional 10% off your projects, plus $1,250 off that new bathroom and a free luxury upgrade. Visit them now, smartchoicebaths.com, and tell them the Big Play Sports Network sent you. Today's featured interview on the Big Play Cleveland Show is brought to you by our friends at Garage Beer. Garage Beer is the perfect beer for any occasion. It's small batch, no frills, no bitterness. It's just beer that tastes like beer. The garage is always open with Garage Beer, and we're opening our garage now to a very special guest, college basketball guru, broadcaster for NBC Sports and Cleveland's own, John Fanta. John, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, it is great to be with you guys. A fun time of year, a lot happening, including job interviews. I hope everybody's updated their LinkedIn profile and given their rich coaching background, since there's plenty of us who have certainly second guessed our history of football coaches. That's for sure. But fun to be with you guys. What's happening?
John, I've never kicked off an interview this way, so let me begin. Let's talk undefeated Miami Redhawks. Just how good are the Redhawks?
They should be ranked. They should be a top 25 team. Travis Steele has done a sensational job with this 19-0 group, and they're really fun to watch, too. I mean, they play a top 40 tempo in college basketball, and for those that are not college basketball junkies, until March, there's 365 teams in D1 college basketball. Miami of Ohio plays the 36th fastest tempo in America, meaning they can fly up and down. They can score it at a very, very high level. And what a win over Buffalo over the weekend. Brant Byers has a chance. You know when you're watching March Madness and the CBS music's playing and you're thinking, this kid is a stud? Brant Byers has a chance to be that next stud in March Madness. He's averaging close to 16 per game. He's a sophomore who can flat out fill it up, and they've gotten terrific production out of him. Evan Ipsaro as well as Peter Suter. Like, I want to shout these kids out because they've played such a big role on this team. Ipsaro, He got banged up a few weeks back, but what I love is they're balanced. They got 5 guys averaging in double figures. They can light it up offensively again, and Byers he's shooting 44% from 3. So I love the Red Hawks. Rank the Red Hawks. They're playing Kent State on Tuesday night. It's a huge game. By the way, the Flashes are a good team. They're 14-4. Delreco Gillespie is the name to know. Their high-level score. They've got a balanced offense. The Mid-American Conference, the road to Cleveland, the MAC tournament, it's a lot of fun. This year, it's going to be amped up even more. We have multiple teams in the state of Ohio that can go dancing this March.
What do you say? There are ugly haters out there that say Miami of Ohio, they haven't faced a quad 1 team. They haven't really played anyone. What do you say to those haters?
People wouldn't schedule them.
That's right.
They tried to schedule people, and they wouldn't schedule them, and it's a problem in college sports, is that the big guys are afraid to pay the smaller schools, and a lot of times it's buy games. Miami of Ohio, if they're going to play a Kentucky, or if they're going to play even a Georgetown or a Texas, they're going to have to pay. They're going to get paid because they got to fulfill a program budget. But no, people don't want to run into this team and everything that they've done. And I don't blame people, because Travis Steele has a team that he retained pieces on his roster. So a lot of other big-time coaches are like, I have 8 transfers. I don't want to play somebody that knows who they are in November and December. So Miami of Ohio has an advantage. They know who they are. They retain their pieces on their roster. And so a lot of teams in college basketball now early in the season have no idea who how they are. First day of practice is like first day of first grade, because you don't recognize all the names on your team, even though you recruited them. Not for the Red Hawks. The Red Hawks have an identity. They've got, I haven't even brought up like Antoine Woolfolk, who I really like for that team because he's a double-figure guy. That's a guy who transferred from Rutgers, spent 2 years at Rutgers, and now has gone to Miami, Ohio, and turned into a really good player in the MAC. They brought in a couple of high major guys, Woolfolk being one of them, that, these guys are performing. They're performing at a high level, and they're stepping up for this team in a big way. So what I say to people is, screw the haters. Screw the haters, because the haters don't know what they're talking about. This team, you can only play who's on your schedule. And everybody they've played, they've beaten.
John, you mentioned every day almost in college basketball now feeling like the first day of first grade. Ohio State just added Puff Johnson to their roster. What's going on with the midseason transfers and additions and signing in college basketball? Is that good for the game in your opinion, or no?
Yeah, it's not, Nick. I mean, like the midseason stuff to me is a little bit ridiculous, because it comes off as like, McNeil and I are playing recess football and we're signing somebody in the middle of the game in between a couple of ham sandwiches. I mean, I just, I'm all for, and like, I don't blame Puff Johnson, and I certainly don't blame Ohio State. I blame the system. Ohio State's trying to make the NCAA tournament. Frankly, they need to. I think they will. I think they got a tournament team. I like Bruce Thornton, John Mobley Jr., and Devin Royal. I think they got enough on the perimeter where they're going to make it. Puff Johnson will add physicality and experience, and I don't blame Jake Diebler at all. I just think if you're college basketball or college football, but college basketball right now, it's off its rocker. They finally have said the transfer portal's not going to open until after the national championship game. Let the madness be the madness, and then we'll open the portal for only 15 days. Good job. People are like, well, the NCAA, they have no control. Yeah, if they put their foot down, they do. Yeah. They put their foot down. Like, they can't control the money in the sport. The money's going to be the money. I would also argue this. This time of year, a lot of people are always focused on football, and rightfully so. Football's king. But if you're watching college basketball, there's like 12 teams, 13 teams that could win the national championship. That's good for the sport. That's very good for the sport. The team up north that this show, doesn't talk much about, they're pretty damn good. And I know you're not rooting for them. They're very good, but there's a number of other teams that can do it. So I don't like the midseason stuff. I'm not a fan of it at all. It's got that type of chaos has got to be regulated.
One last question on college basketball here. Did you see Ohio State? They busted out the Jim Jackson jerseys. What'd you think of those? Look pretty sharp.
Those are beautiful. I mean, they're so smooth and clean and crisp, and that's what the Buckeyes should be wearing all the time. You know, I like that. But like, lean into your nostalgia, lean into your program identity. Like, that's a program with terrific history, and it feels like in recent years they obviously haven't met the standard. Is very important, you know, that they get to the tournament this year. By the way, you know, I think people, I know everybody's got a different opinion on Buckeye basketball, but like, I would twist it on you and say this. Jake Diebler is 39. Travis Steele's 44. I remember Travis Steele at 39. Travis Steele, for those who don't know, he's the coach of Miami of Ohio. Yep. Travis Steele at 39 was not ready for Xavier. Ultimately, he got fired at Xavier. Xavier's a Big East program, so they're a high major program. They spend millions of dollars on their roster every year. I'm not trying to defend. I'm not coming on here to, like, you know, I know a lot of people, there's pressure on Jake Diebler to make the tournament because he took over for Chris Holtman. They didn't do a search. And there's a lot of Buckeye fans who are like, I wanted a search. I wanted to see somebody, you know, get hired. Look, I get your feelings there. What I know is this. They gave Jake that job because this is a guy who's up 22 hours a day thinking about, how am I going to win? How are we going to win? And if he gets the right level of support, which I think, you know, Ohio State will continue to give it to him, I believe in this guy's upside. The way that, like, Travis Steele could end up getting a high major job. I hope he stays at Miami of Ohio forever. He's got a great family. Yes. He's got a couple of kids. You know, maybe he will. But I will say, like, Diebler, if they can make the tournament this year, which I think that the Buckeyes will, I think there's a coaching star in there. I think he's a really good worker. I just think he's young. Like, you're 39. You're young in this, you know, and just keep an eye on if Ohio State can find a pathway. Bruce Thornton is an absolute star. He's someone who could win them a March Madness game or two. This program badly needs a big dance ticket. Buckeye fans, I think you will get there. I think it's a necessary step for the program, one that they can then build off of in 26-27. It's not all doom and gloom for Buckeye hoops right now. That was a good win over UCLA. Now, don't let me down. You can't have a letdown spot against Minnesota.
John, you mentioned a search. Boy, has that been the topic on the show as our Browns have a search. And you mentioned a youngster. You got Grant Udinski, only 30 years old. You got Jim Schwartz up there at 59 years old. Who do you like out of this talent pool for our Browns here, John?
I like Grant Udinski. And you know what? The Jaguars reporters and beat, by the day, they're getting more and more nervous. I got tweeted at all weekend about how the Browns shouldn't hire Udinski, with Jags fans making up stories about him that you know, he's actually fake because they want to keep him. They want to keep him. That's why they're making it up. I don't care about his age. Coach McDonald in Seattle, Mike McDonald's in his second year, and when he got hired, people were like, "Is this going to work out for Seattle?" They went from Pete Carroll and Mike McDonald. I think the Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl, and he's a second-year head coach. So it comes down to much more. It also comes down to more than just the coach, but we're in an era in the National Football League where you can win in different ways. You got to win in different ways. Ask the Patriots how they're winning games. You think it's pretty? Not at all. Not one bit. Denver, Broncos got to win an AFC title game in a totally unorthodox way right now, and they could make the Super Bowl. You know, the other thing is, like, I'm watching these games, and I'm like, we're not that far away. Like, I'm a little bit more optimistic than others. I don't think that we're that far away. I think
you and Nick both optimists. I love this. I'm the pessimist over here going, look at this offensive line, John. Look at the wide. We don't have any wide receivers at all. How can you be optimistic? I understand the defense. Special teams are a complete wreck.
If you go young, if you hire Jim Schwartz as your head coach, you're still far away. Because I like Jim. I really do. I really, really like Jim Schwartz as a DC. How do you fire the head coach and then just elevate one of his coordinators after you've won, you know? And Jim's not responsible for the losing. He's really not. He's got the best defense in the league. Yeah. And maybe I'll eat my words, and they elevate him to head coach, and in his second, big head coaching stint, he's able to perform at a high level. because I want Jim to have success. But at one time, I'm not going to lie, like I wanted Greg Williams to have a lot of success. And, at the end of the day, I like Greg as a person, but like we're talking about the full-time position here. But the thing is, like, McNeil, in one vein, I could see your point because the Browns are so dysfunctional at the top.
Yeah.
But I'm watching these other teams play, and that's my point of, like,
everybody else can do it. Why not us?
Well, exactly. And also, it can turn quickly in the NFL. Not to mention, sometimes there are teams with less than average general managers who still find a way to get to and then make a run in the playoffs. The Steelers have been poorly managed for years, and they won the AFC North this year. And there's other teams that you could say the same thing about. Like, I don't think Houston, I don't know if they're like world-class run, but they've found a way to the playoffs, and they were in that game. Had CJ Stroud, they now got tons of questions to answer about their quarterback spot because he looked overwhelmed and just not at all up to standards for an NFL playoff quarterback throughout the weekend. My point is, though, we're not that far away. You got to take a look at Sean McDermott. I mean, I'd literally go to his house right now, pick him up, and bring him in. And, they're talking with the Rams passing game coordinator. I'm all for a McVay guy. The Rams, all throughout the game last night, people are like, what's McVay doing? What are the Rams doing? What's this? What's that? Like, they're passing it too much. All they ever do is win. Yeah. We're not that far away.
I love the optimism. He is John Fanta. You could follow him on X at John_Fanta. Keep up with all of his great work on NBC Sports. John, appreciate you joining us as always.
If you guys will have me when this hire gets made, I think I'm gonna come back and we're gonna. If you'll have me, we got to talk more about whoever they end up hiring. Because the last thing I'm gonna say is I would not have let this GM handle this hire. That I would not have let happen. My point is, we're in a lot of these games. You get the right leader, you get the right head coach. Everyone's like, well, he drafted well. Okay, if I had 6 drafts, McNeil and I could nail one of them. Thanks, guys.
I think we could.
More Big Play Cleveland right after this. Hey, Cleveland sports fans, I've got to tell you about one of the biggest nights of the year coming up in our city. The 2026 Cleveland Sports Awards are almost here, celebrating the athletes, teams, and moments that made this year in sports unforgettable. From the pros to prep stars, this is where Cleveland comes together to honor excellence, toughness, and everything that makes this a true iconic sports town. You're going to see familiar faces, relive iconic moments, and recognize the people who represent this city the right way. The 2026 Cleveland Sports Awards. It's more than just an event. It's a celebration of our sports culture. You can get your tickets now at clevelandsportsawards.com and be there when Cleveland's best and brightest take center stage. Trust me, this is a night that you're not going to want to miss. The Big Play Cleveland crew will be there. We want to see you guys at the Cleveland Sports Awards. Get your tickets now, clevelandsportsawards.com. All right, Chris, it's crazy that we haven't talked about it yet, but Kevin Stefanski becoming the next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons is blank.
I think it's a good fit. I really do. I think that he's going to be a fit for the culture down there. I think he's finally going to get an organization that's a little bit more settled than what you see here in Cleveland, and I think he'll have an opportunity to implement his offense. So I'm excited for Kevin. I don't think it was going to happen here in Cleveland for him anyway, so I think it was a good parting here in Cleveland, and I wish him well down there. I think he's a great guy that's well documented, and I really hope that he does well with the Falcons.
And it will be interesting to monitor that as we do all of our former beloved, Baker Mayfield's, now Kevin Stefanski's, Nick Chubb a little bit at the beginning of the season. We will hear about how he does down there, and it'll be fascinating to monitor his entire tenure, because he's walking into a situation with the Falcons where Michael Penix Jr. is a young quarterback going into his third season with some real questions about if he's the franchise guy for the Falcons. That was the same situation he walked into in Cleveland, where Baker Mayfield was going into year 3 with some real questions about if he was the franchise guy. And they've got some young talent in Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. So it'll be interesting to see what Coach Kev does down there in a pretty winnable division, playing Baker Mayfield twice a year down there in the NFC South. All right, Chris, my favorite Cleveland sports memory of 2025 was blank.
I'm wearing the shirt right now, Nick. I'm going to go with Myles Garrett setting the sack record, getting number 23. You know, in a season that was almost completely a waste for the Cleveland Browns, let's be honest. He gave us a reason to watch. We had Shedeur a little bit. That got us a little bit of excitement. But this is really historic. So congratulations to Myles Garrett. Of anything, and there'll probably only be this that I pull out of this season when I'm looking back in 20 years, it's going to be that sack record. So congratulations, Myles Garrett.
All right, we'll give Chris that, even though it technically happened in 2026.
Oh, come on.
Technically. But we'll give Chris the sack record. I guess I'll take the low-hanging fruit then, and then the Guardians just eviscerating that 15.5 game deficit when it mattered most. Their back was against the wall. Each and every one of those games mattered so much. It felt like we played playoff baseball in Cleveland for like 3 months as they tried to erase that deficit against Detroit. Ultimately, it would have been so cool to then beat them in the playoffs, and I think maybe the Guardians will have a little bit of revenge this year in the American League Central and hopefully make good on that and take down the Detroit Tigers. Chris, pitchers and catchers reporting getting closer and closer with each and every day.
Yeah, less than a month away. I think the sad part as we're reviewing this for last year is that we're not talking Cavs. Cavs going in as the 1 seed, ended up fizzling out once again in the playoffs. Right now, we're showing a little bit of momentum, which I'm excited about. Had a couple of nice games last week against Philadelphia, and enough to be excited going forward. But right now, the Cavs have really got to get in gear, because this time next year, I expect to be talking about the Cavs hopefully making one heck of a run in the playoffs.
Alrighty, well, perfect segue and transition to the Cleveland Cavaliers as Jalen Tyson put on a show this weekend in Philadelphia. Jalen Tyson's emergence for the Cleveland Cavaliers has been blank.
Just what the doctor ordered. We've been talking about somebody stepping up, and he sure as heck did. 39 points versus the Sixers on Friday, part of a back-to-back with the Sixers, 2 wins there on their home floor. So big week there for the Cavs. Hopefully we build upon it this week. We got some big games, Nick, this week. Jalen Tyson has really come on, and his emergence is really going to relieve everybody on that team and allow us, hopefully, to get into a little bit of a groove here.
Alrighty, well, Darius Garland is injured again. It's the bad news for the Cavs. So Darius Garland getting injured again is blank.
He's snake bit. I feel so bad for him. I mean, you talk about one of those guys who just enjoys playing the game. He's fun to watch. He's fun with the crowd. You watch him, he's just smiling all the time. And then he just continues to get hurt with little things, whether it's toes, whether it's getting poked in the face. Something always happens to this guy. And he seems like the nicest guy around, but he just can't avoid all these little lingering injuries. It's sad to see, because I think he's got so much potential, Nick, and it seems to just continue to get cut off by just little things that get in his way, and I hate to see that.
And it's just like he impacts winning. So, like, he means so much to this group because he gives you 18 points a game. He gives you just under 7 assists a game. Like, the Cavaliers look like the Cavaliers when Darius Garland is healthy, so him getting injured again is definitely a bad thing for this group. And what's nice is it's a separate toe injury from the toe that he injured. It's his right toe. It's the left toe that has been bothering him. He's going to be reevaluated in 7 to 10 days. So hopefully this isn't like a sky is falling type injury, but we've seen with his other toe on the other foot how this is kind of been something that's followed DG from the postseason last year against the Miami Heat through the Pacers series, where he was able to only play in one of those games and then missed the start of the season this year. Never looked right. So I really hope that Darius Garland could get healthy. I'd probably try to baby him as much as you really could through March and April, just so we could be as healthy as possible for the NBA playoffs. But yeah, he is starting to have that injury prone label, and I hate to see that because he means so much to this group. He impacts winning in so many different ways. All right, last Cavs headline. Rumors of the Cavs possibly trading DeAndre Hunter is blank.
Motivational tactic. He started to play a little bit last week after those rumors started circulating. He said, no, I'm happy in Cleveland. That's not happening. Who knows from the Cavs side? I think with us being in the apron, I don't know that we can really make a move like that. It'd have to get pretty creative, but he did show a little bit of emergence last week. Hopefully he can also keep that momentum going.
I really think that if there was a time to do it, now that you've got him playing at least passable basketball, you probably want to do it sooner than later.
Can we really do it?
Because I think that's the move that you can do, and then that gets you back under the second apron. So then maybe this offseason you could have a little bit of flexibility. That's so strange to me because I was such a massive fan of that trade when it happened at the deadline last year. I was doing cartwheels. I thought that was a perfect fit. You haven't had a true small forward since LeBron James left to go to the Los Angeles Lakers there in, what was that, 2018? You never really solved that, and the fit just has not worked. The fit has also not worked with Lonzo Ball, and I wonder if that's another name to watch as the NBA trade deadline comes near. It's February 5th. That's getting really close. So if the Cavs want to make even their typical smaller calculated moves to try to push this team to where they need to be in the Eastern Conference, keep your eyes and ears peeled because that could come down the pipe sooner than we think. February 5th, right around the corner.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we will be back with more of the Big Play Cleveland show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome on back into the Big Play Cleveland show. You've heard us talking for the last couple of weeks about the Cleveland Sports Awards. We now welcome on the CEO of the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, Mr. David Gilbert, joining us on the Big Play Cleveland show. David, we are looking forward to the Cleveland Sports Awards coming up Thursday, February 5th at Rocket Arena. It's always such a great event and a great night that you guys put on. How can our viewers get involved in this year's event?
Well, we appreciate your having me on, and you're all supporting it. It's look, there's the best way to get involved overall is to be there. And it really is. This is our 26th year. It really is by most accounts the largest and most successful of its kind in the country in terms of a local. Almost a local version of the ESPYs, local sports recognition event. Lots of celebrities that will be there. And we're expecting, a total crowd of upwards of 2,000 people. And it's the one big fundraiser a year for Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, our nonprofit that works to attract and put on major events in Cleveland. And so traditionally, it's always been, to sell expensive tables. We're now starting last year, we added something called our Die Hard District that for $75, you get into the arena, you get to see the whole great hour-and-a-half plus show and a great after party on the concourse of Rocket Arena. And it's just, we're so excited because, every year, we really look at this in terms of big moments, and there's no doubt that we're going to have some incredible moments that are set to happen that night, and it's just always a great night to feel good about Cleveland and Cleveland sports at all levels.
The golden ticket is back this year as well, which was a very popular topic of conversation for our fans here on the show. David, for people that aren't familiar with the golden ticket, could you explain what that is and how people could potentially get their hands on one?
Absolutely. So we draw one winner, and you do not have to be present to win. And the one winner that's drawn gets a pair of good season tickets to the Guardians, the Cavs, and the Browns. It's really rare. Tickets are $100. We sell a maximum of 1,000 tickets, so not crazy odds. And it's every year. It's really we're so thankful for the teams that support this. but it's a heck of a prize to win. And those tickets are still available. People go to clevelandsportsawards.com. And not only can you get tickets to the events, but you can buy yourself a golden ticket.
David, a guy who's very special to us here at Big Play, Hanford Dixon, is receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award. Tell us about the selection process that allowed you to arrive at Hanford Dixon getting this prestigious award.
Yeah, it really is considered a highlight of the night. And we have a committee made up of about 40 different people involved in sports, in media, and business in our community. And we've had this award, going back to Jim Brown and so many others, that the award is about advancing sports in Cleveland. And what I will tell you, it's not about someone who just had a great, a great career on the field. It's people who have been true to this city. And while, yes, Hanford did have an incredible multi-Pro Bowl career in Cleveland, he has been part of this community ever since in so many different ways. And when his name came up, it was, I want to say, a very clear choice for this committee to choose Hanford. And so not only is Hanford winning the Lifetime Achievement, we're also going to do a special fireside chat with Hanford, and likely along with a handful of other members of Browns players from his era, celebrating the 40th anniversary of the formation of the Dog Pound. So it's a pretty neat milestone, and we are so excited that we can highlight Hanford and what he has meant to this community and what this community has meant to him over the past 4 decades and more.
David, our producer's ears perked up a little bit when you mentioned that fireside chat with Hanford Dixon. Just make sure whoever's working the microphone has their hand on that dump button or that mute button, whatever you guys have, because when the top dog gets cranked up, he could tell it how it is.
Well, we try to make sure we keep the show to a specific amount of time. So, we love Hanford, and we'll have the hook available if needed. But I mean, what's great is people they love, part of why they love going to this event. Certainly you see the best in high school, collegiate, professional sports that get honored for this community. But part of it is the people you get to see, the people you get to hear from. There's a second fireside chat we're doing that we are so thrilled. We are doing a fireside chat to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Cavs 2016 championship team. And Iman Shumpert is coming in to be part of that. J.R. Smith, don't know if shirt will be on or off, but he's going to be in to be part of that. And we actually think over the next couple of weeks there will likely be others. David Griffin, who is GM of the team, is going to be in as part of that. And so that's another, what we know will be a really exciting moment for that evening.
Yeah, and it is a dress-up event, but for J.R. Smith, we're making the shirt optional, right?
I'm not sure about for all of us, but for him, absolutely.
Yeah, nobody wants to see McNeil with his shirt on. Right. He is the CEO of the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, David Gilbert. David, appreciate you popping on the Big Play Cleveland show. You guys could see the information on the screen right now. ClevelandSportsAwards.com. Get your tickets. It is truly one of the most fun nights in the city to celebrate all of our Cleveland sports moments, Cleveland sports teams, from youth sports, college, pros. Get your tickets now, ClevelandSportsAwards.com. David, appreciate you popping on.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We'll be back with more of the Big Play Cleveland show right after this. Big Play Bets on the Big Play Cleveland Show, brought to you by FanDuel. You know how fast NFL game days move. One big play and everything changes. That's why live betting on FanDuel is a game changer, because with FanDuel, you can bet in real time while the game unfolds. If the score just flipped, jump on a new spread or a live money line. If a wide receiver is starting to heat up, bet on that next touchdown score or his total yardage. Think a drive is going to stall in the red zone? Take a live field goal prop or just fade the total. Live player props, team totals, drive results, updated spreads, next play markets, it's all there. It's fast, it's fun, and with FanDuel, your live bets move as quickly as the game does. So whether you're riding momentum or fading the hype, FanDuel puts you right in the middle of every single moment. Visit FanDuel.com/BigPlay to download the app and bet the NFL live all season long. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Alrighty, Chris, the conference championships in the National Football League are here. We'll start off in the NFC. The Rams open up as 2.5-point dogs against the Seattle Seahawks. Slight favorites at home. I think I like Seattle in this matchup, man. I'm not betting against our old Buckeye. Jackson Smith-Njigba has been pretty darn good for them.
Yeah, and taking it to the other side of the ball, I really liked Seattle's defense. I think that may be the best position group of anyone in the playoffs that are left right now. Seattle's defense has really played very well, so I expect Seattle in this game to cover. I also like the under in this game, so going Seattle in the under.
Alrighty, let's go to the AFC side. This is the New England Patriots opened as a 5.5-point favorite against the Denver Broncos. It'll be Jarrett Stidham in this matchup. You know, Chris, I find myself sitting here in a snowy Cleveland, Ohio, finding myself not feeling all too bad for the Denver Broncos. Isn't that funny how that works?
Did you think that was real when it came out after that game that Bo Nix had, broken his ankle, and it was like within moments of that you'd just seen him out there, you'd seen him do the post game, and then all of a sudden you see the reports all over Twitter that, hey, he's out. It's like, whoa, I thought it wasn't for real. So yeah, I'm with you. I got the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to cover. We're going to have the Patriots Seahawks in the Super Bowl. That's my bet.
Yeah, I really think that the Patriots are going to roll in this game as well. Denver, to me, is an example of exactly what John Fanta was talking about. A team that actually might not be the most talented, but they're well coached. They're so well coached. They've got a good defense. I think offensively, without their starting quarterback, that's certainly going to hurt them. All right, let's do an anytime touchdown scorer parlay. We could pick a touchdown scorer from each game, parlay them together. I kind of already feel like I maybe spoiled mine a little bit
Jackson
in that
Smith and
Seahawks
Jigba
game. Dude, I knew he was going to be good, but for him to be this good at this stage of his career has just truly been something to behold.
Yeah, especially coming out of Ohio State. You knew he was a special player there, but he wasn't like that next level. We always talk about the Marvin Harrisons that you expect to just dominate at the next level. He's doing it, and he was a bit unheralded coming out of Ohio State, if you could believe that.
Are we feeling maybe a little Buckeye parlay with the Patriots, Broncos, maybe Travion Henderson to find the end zone in the AFC game?
Go all Buckeyes? Why not? Let's go that way. I like it. Keep the Buckeyes. At least we've got a little bit of Ohio represented on the big stage there at the Super Bowl.
Make sure you guys download that FanDuel Sportsbook app and bet the NFL live with us all season long. And if you hear that, the Top Dogs is barking again. Tune in Tuesday at 7 p.m. for a full breakdown of everything Cleveland Browns with Hanford Dixon, Josh Cribbs, and Phil Taylor. You can catch it live on X, YouTube, or the Big Play app. It's the Top Dog Show only on the Big Play Sports Network. We'll see you guys next week right here on the Big Play Cleveland Show.